going on, everybody? Hope y'all are having a good day today. So I just got back from a 3-day, 2-night trip on the Adventure Hiking Trail down in southern Indiana. The video for that trip will be linked in the description on here. So I wanted to just do a breakdown of the gear that I took. The Adventure Hiking Trail, if you've never heard of it, you're not from the area, it's a 27-mile loop that, at least in Indiana, is known as being pretty rugged. Lots of ups and downs. I think total trip, we gained and lost, it was like 5,200 feet of elevation change, which for some of you may not sound like a whole lot, but for Indiana, that's pretty good. The other thing with it too is it's famous for really no switchbacks. So it's very much just straight up and down every hill. And it's not too bad. It was a lot of fun, but you'll see it in the trip video if you watch that. This is to go along with it. We had a great time. I met up with another YouTuber, Try Duty on the Trail. Thanks for the invite, buddy. His channel will be linked in the description as well. We had an awesome time. We had a whole different host of weather from Indiana. We had rain, pouring rain the first day, ridiculous winds. There apparently were reported wind gusts of almost 80 miles an hour that we were getting alerts for. Yeah, it was a little crazy. And then the second and third day was sunny and 65 degrees. But I thought it'd be fun to just kind of break down the gear that I took, how it worked, if there's anything I'd have changed, and then just what some differences were versus my kind of normal gear set. So the pack that I took my Gossamer Gear G420 pack. Definitely gonna do a separate review of this pack. I feel like now I've got about 400 miles worth of trips on this pack. I absolutely love it. It is a frameless pack. The only frame that's in it is the sit pad that fits on the back of it here. I'm not gonna go into too much detail. I'll save that for another video. But I brought this pack for two reasons. One, it was 27 miles, lots of elevation. So we did 12 miles the first day, and then 8 and around 5 is kind of the breakdown. But I wanted to go as light as possible because the main challenge usually with that trail is the lack of water. It's historically a very, very dry trail. The creek beds typically have no water in them, and you have to stash water all along the trail, which, if you watch the trip video, when there's flash flooding and a lot of rain going on, that's not usually an issue, as you see in the video. But I wanted to pack as light as possible and have the capability to carry most of my weight being water. With 4 liters of water in this pack and my loadout, starting out with food, I was pushing about 28 pounds. Which was the other reason I kind of wanted to bring it, is I just wanted to test it. Gossamer Gear lists this pack as being able to handle 30 pounds. I would say that's pushing it if you're gonna consistently carry that much. Knowing a lot of that weight was consumable and that I would pretty quickly get back under 25 pounds, I went ahead and brought it, and it was fine. It was very comfortable. It did a good job for me. So I was very happy with the pack. As far as the outside, let's just go to the, I don't know, you call this the front or the back of the pack? I guess I call this the back, and the other part the front. Maybe it's wrong. Doesn't matter. On the shoulder strap, I took the rain shield pocket off of my Flash 55 pack to keep the phone and the camera in, and it did its job. Kept the phone dry, even in torrential downpour. The only time it really got wet, which is kind of what kept me from being able to film a lot the first day, was just having it out in the rain. But the inside of this stayed perfectly dry. And then on this strap, I just had my Garmin inReach, which was handy. You know, I was able to use it to communicate with these guys. You watched the trip video. I got a later start than them, so they were pretty much done with the first day about 45 minutes before I finished it. So I was alone most of the day, but this gave me a way to still be able to communicate with them, for them to warn me of creek crossings that were basically waist-deep rivers, and just for them to make sure I was alive. It was rough. But so I had the Garmin inReach. On the sides, so just water bottles. I think I already took one out, but I just had 4 smart water 1 liter water bottles. They go sliding everywhere. This pack does, on the one side, have the shorter side pockets, so it's really easy to get to your water bottle while you're wearing the pack. On this side, the other side has the taller pocket. Works good for like if you use certain shelters. The Gossamer Gear, the one fits in here. My chair would fit in here, stuff like that. But I just had 2 other smart water bottles in there. We'll get those all out of the way. One side just had little stuff, my headlamp. Just always keep it right there, so I've got it. And it's just a black diamond spot, nothing fancy. And then chapstick and hand sanitizer. And that's really all I kept in that pocket. The other pocket was for snacks, which probably just got a lot of trash in it right now. Yeah, gotta empty that out, but that was just snacks. All right, on the top of the pack. So for this trip, and I really kind of started doing this more, I didn't bring my chair. It's kind of ironic, I did a video talking about some of my 5 favorite pieces of gear that's on my channel, and one of the things I talked about was my chair, and I don't think I've brought it on a trip since. But I've been pretty much religiously bringing my Thermarest Z-Lite sleeping pad. This is about 3/4 length because I cut a smaller section off to just use as a sit pad, which I would typically take. But I brought the bigger one. I'll usually bring it when it's really cold, or because I knew this trail has shelters at most of the camp areas, and I knew there was a chance that we would be camping in the shelters, so I like to have something like this to put down under my inflatable pad so I don't pop it. I'm just drifting more and more to this. It's lighter than the chair, and it's more flexible. I can just throw it on the ground, sit on it. I can throw it on the ground, stand on it to change. I don't have to worry about it getting broken or torn up. And I can still get pretty much just as comfortable on this and stretch out more so than my chair. So I like this. On the big stretchy mesh pocket on the front here, the Gossamer Gear does have this little zippered pocket up here, and that's just where I put like my keys in there, a little bit of cash just in case. You can put a map in there. When you fill the pack up, you kind of lose any volume in this pocket, so it's just good for little things. I think I have a pocket knife in here, just little stuff like that. The main stretchy mesh pocket. So out here, it's a big stretchy mesh pocket, and again, just speaking to the durability of this pack, we're going through tons of blowdown. Like I said, there was just ridiculous wind gusts. I guess there was a tornado that touched down not too far from us. just ridiculous. But climbing through blowdowns, over blowdowns, there was a couple I had to take the pack off and kind of throw it over the blowdown to climb through it. Plenty of them I just climbed through. This has no damage whatsoever, so it's been pretty tough for me. But inside here, on the top, my REI rain pants, just their regular rain pants. These were a savior. I hiked in them pretty much, well, all day the first day, other than the one time where I did take them off when it stopped raining, try to dry my shorts out after like the 3rd waist deep river crossing where my shorts were just wet. I was trying to dry them out before camp, and then I had another river crossing, and it was just it was a pain. But I usually like to hike in shorts, so I'll take these a lot to wear just as a windbreak if it is cooler until I do heat up. But these are fantastic. The next item in here, rain jacket. Again, pretty much all day Friday wore this, and then just as a windbreak, stuff like that. Just the Frog Togs rain jacket. I can't say enough good things about this rain jacket. It's not the most stylish, but it is by far the lightest weight. I did try to re-waterproof my Outdoor Research helium rain jacket for this trip, just because I kind of like the way it fits a little better. And just wearing it literally that morning to take my kids to school, and just kind of on the drive when I'd get in and out of the car. I mean, it was monsoon raining, but it was still pretty much instantly wetting out. So I just said to heck with it, and I just brought this guy. Again, climbing over trees, stuff like that, brushing up against stuff. There's no damage on this thing. They're like 25 bucks. there's no reason to get a different rain jacket. I mean, I guess unless you're gonna spend time above tree line and in the snow, or you want something more durable, a lot of bushwhacking, then like I have a Gore-Tex rain shell for that, I guess, but there's not really many circumstances, at least that I face, in the areas I backpack, where this doesn't do the job. This is just my Appalachian Gear Company alpaca wool beanie. This is just, I haven't unpacked this after the trip, so I think I was wearing it to start the day hiking out, and then I took it off and just shoved it in here. But a great little piece of gear, weighs basically nothing. You can almost see through it, so it's pretty breathable, but it does hold in a lot of heat. I slept in it. I wore it pretty much 70% of the time once I got to camp. I love this little thing. Cook kit. So my cook kit was out here the whole time. This I kind of stripped down versus my normal setup that I would carry. It's just a Toke's 750 milliliter pot. And then I didn't even bring a mug or a cup or anything. I just used this pot for everything. I'd make my coffee in it, had apple cider in it, boiled water in it. I just used it for everything. Again, just trying to keep unnecessary weight down. And then I took the little BRS, you can barely even see it, BRS titanium stove. I don't really know what this thing weighs. I think it's around an ounce. If it's way different, I'll put it on the screen. But it's insanely lightweight. You can get it on Amazon for like 35 bucks. You'll see in the trip video why I typically don't take it. And I usually go for like the Optimus Crux Light Stove or something like that. It may weigh a couple ounces more, but there's really no, it's either all on or all off. There's no wind protection with this. There's one point where I'm cooking with it and there's barely even a breeze blowing, but this thing's blowing around like there's a gale force wind coming through camp. So it's kind of annoying for that, but it worked, and it basically weighs the same as the little mini Bic lighter that's in here. And then I just had the smaller fuel can. Did fine for 3 days. Still plenty of fuel in here too. But it all just fits down inside there nice. Water filter, Sawyer Squeeze water filter. Never used it because we had water drops that we put out there. So never really needed it, but I always bring a water filter. And then I have my pack cover, so just a Sea to Summit pack cover. Some people bring these, some people don't. I do. This pack's not waterproof. Most packs will tell you they're highly water resistant, but eventually that fabric's gonna start to hold water, and then your pack's just gonna get heavier. So for me, the extra couple ounces to bring this versus the extra weight that a soggy pack would bring, I'd rather the pack cover. It did its job. I literally fell in one of the creeks at one point, and the pack almost went completely underwater. So the pack cover on the outside kept the water from soaking the pack, and really nothing got wet inside. So the pack cover did its job. And then what else we got in here? Oh, little pack towel. We used for like wiping condensation and stuff off of the tent. We'll get to that later, but tiny little pack towel, just something absorbent. And then stakes for the tent that I brought. And that's it. That's it in that pocket. So let's get into the main body of the pack. So, and again, like I said, I haven't even unpacked this yet, so things may be a little out of order, a little jumbled up, but for the most part, I think I got it packed. So, Melanzana microgrid hoodie. I can't say enough good things about this, but just having some sort of active mid layer, pretty much right when I get to camp, I would throw this on just to warm up. It's nice it's lightweight, it's breathable, it's got an awesome hood. I mean, I slept in this both nights. I hiked in it a little bit Sunday morning too while it was still warming up. It does a good job breathing as well, and it dries really fast. That first day, after about 8 miles, I stopped at a little picnic area with a shelter, and I was just, after multiple river crossings, I mean, it was 55 degrees, but pouring rain, blowing wind. I was getting cold, so I stopped and took the rain shell off, put this on even though my hiking shirt was soaked, and then put the rain shell back on just to try to warm up while I was refilling my water. So it got a little damp, but I took it back off, put it back in the pack. By the time I got to camp, it was plenty dry enough and kept me warm throughout the night. So just a fantastic mid layer that needs washed. Tent. So for the trip, I did bring the Gossamer Gear, the 1 tent on this one. So versus the Durston X-Mid 1 person that I've got, this tent's lighter weight by quite a bit. This only weighs 18 ounces, where the Durston tent is closer to 30. So it saves some weight. I knew also that definitely the first night we'd be sleeping in the shelter. Just no one had any interest in trying to set up a tent in those kind of conditions with the wind and the rain. This tent would have definitely not been good for that if I had to. So I was really putting a lot of eggs in the basket that there would be room in the shelter. There was plenty of room for all of us. And then the second day, we got to a shelter, and it's just a really nice shelter. You'll see when you watch the video. I'm not normally a big shelter guy, but this one was really nice, and it was just a lot easier to just throw my stuff in there. There were some good tent sites, but I just felt like where I was gonna put the tent to be angled correctly for like my head, for it to be flat, or my head to not be below my feet, I'd have been facing the side of the shelter, not the view that I would have wanted anyway, so there was just no sense in setting it up. But that's mainly why I brought it. It was a wild card if I'd even use it or not. And there was no sense in carrying the heavier tent if I wasn't really gonna use it. So I'll have to take another trip soon so this little guy can actually get used, but I did bring this Gossamer Gear, the 1. Food bag, so just Z-Pack's food bag. It's mainly just got trash in it I need to go through at this point. I think my spoon is probably in here. Just a little Tokes, is it? Or Sea to Summit? Tokes titanium long handle spoon, needs washed. And then just a bunch of trash, leftover food needs gone through. Junk drawer bag, toothbrush, toothpaste, batteries, first aid, tent repair, junk drawer stuff. You've seen it in other videos. Toilet paper, wipes. Sleeping pad. So this one I did go ahead and bring the Nemo Tensor insulated pad. The temp ranges were low to mid 60s. Saturday was only in the 50s, but then overnights, mid 30s. So I wanted a little bit more warmth than like the Ultralight. Plus this pad was a little bigger and it's a little thicker. So again, sleeping in the shelters, I just didn't want to risk popping the Ultralight. So brought the Nemo pad, well worth the extra couple ounces. And then this was new. I did spring for one of the little flex tail tiny pump inflators, like every other YouTuber. Honestly, I really only bought it to use the lantern, was the big thing that I was after, just as a little hanging light. And it worked well. The second night in the shelter, we were able to hang it up in the doorway, have a nice little light so we could see what was going on. And it obviously does its job to inflate the pad as well. It was a plus, even sometimes using the inflator bags when you inflate the pad, just the difference in temperature from your breath or whatever getting into the pad versus the outside temperature, it starts to deflate a little bit, and you gotta add more air to it. With the pump, you don't have to worry about that. So if it prolongs the life of the sleeping pad by not putting moisture in it, saves your lungs, and it's a little light. It was pretty handy, and it only weighs, I think, a couple ounces. It was worth it to me. Now everything in the, battery bank, just the Anchor 20,000 milliamp battery bank, assorted chargers and stuff like that. Which the 20,000 is probably overkill for anything shorter than like 4 days, because even this trip, and I had to do a little bit more charging because the cold and everything was sapping the batteries on the phone. I think I only used a quarter of the juice on the thing. And that's charging the phone for a camera and my watch and my Garmin. I could probably get away with a 10,000 milliamp, but this is the one I got. And then now everything in here is in a nylaflume. Everything in here is in a nylaflume pack liner, which again, got tested. I mean, it was pouring rain. Yeah, I had the pack cover on it. But as many times as the bottom of this pack was submerged in water, crossing rivers, the time I fell and there was water inside the pack cover, nothing inside here got wet. So these things are worth their weight in gold. Got my puffy jacket. This is the Decathlon Trek 100 down jacket. One of the best deals you're ever gonna find. Go get one of these if you're looking for a down jacket. It was $65 on clearance, ironically from Walmart's website. But you can find it even if you buy them at full price from Decathlon. I think they're only like $85. It's $8.50 goose down, I believe. If that's wrong, I'll correct it. Weighs nothing. It's very comparable in specs to like a Mountain Hardwear Ghost Whisperer or something of that nature. Very, very warm. I had zero issue with being cold. I did get up at like 4 in the morning, Sunday morning, when it was in the low 30s, and went ahead and put this on because I went to the bathroom, and then just climbed back in my bag and slept in it. And it was great. Love that jacket. Just some kind of thin fleece REI liner gloves. Glad I had those for sure. And then sleeping clothes was just my Smart Wool. I think it's a 250 weight. It's like the mid-weight top. Get to camp, take the wet clothes off, throw this on. Plenty warm. That paired with the Melanzana hoodie. That's what I slept in, and I was fine. And then just some mid-weight fleece long underwear pants. Again, you don't have to go buy Smart Wool stuff. These are like $35. These ones might have been from Meijer or like a sporting goods store. Not expensive. They're fleece. They're great. I hang out in them at camp. I'm gonna take my shorts off, put these on. Once the shorts are dry, put the shorts back on over them, and was perfectly fine. Socks. So I hiked in Darn Tough socks, and then brought an extra pair of Smart Wool socks to hike in as well, especially because the trail was literally a river the whole time. So I hiked in trail runners, so my feet were soaked all day long. Both pairs of socks did their job, kept your feet warm even though they were soaked. No blisters, no foot issues. And then this way I had a pair to change into at camp that were clean while I could let these kind of dry. And then a heavier pair of Smart Wool Expedition weight wool socks just to sleep in. And let's see, the pillow I brought, I went with my lightest weight little one, just the Nemo Philo Elite pillow. It's pretty comfortable. I like this thing. This is maybe the second time I've used it. I think it's more comfortable than the little cheap Trekology ones because the material is kind of soft. So it's a little bit more like a regular pillow. I would have preferred my Thermarest actual pillow, but try and condense everything down into this pack. That thing just takes up too much space. So a tinier, more compact option. Did a good job. Never had to add air to it. I like it. And then my quilt. I just took the trusty Enlightened Equipment Revelation 20-degree quilt with the pad straps. I love this thing. This is probably one of my favorite gear purchases ever. It's just so versatile. It's so flexible. I know you can do the Enigma or quilts that have like the stitched foot boxes. To me, in a 20-degree range quilt, this covers such a broad range because I can open it up like a blanket. If it has the stitched foot box, you're kind of locking yourself into 20, 30, 40-degree temps. Anything warmer than that, it's probably gonna be too hot. You know, with this guy, I can take this in the 50s and 60s still, and just open it up and use it like a blanket. But I've pushed it down into the 20s, all cinched up, sealed up, and been perfectly warm. So I personally like the flexibility that the Revelation model offers, but you can do ones that have stitched foot boxes, whatever you want to do. I was very happy with that. And that's it. So that's everything I took on the trip. Hopefully, at least this video is entertaining. Sorry it's in the garage. I just don't really want to go out there. It's not very nice out there. It's not very pleasant. But that was everything I took. It did me well through sun and 60s down to the 30s. It did me well through 50s and torrential rain and walking through rivers and streams and creeks over my waist, almost swimming at one point. It did a good job. The gear did what it's supposed to do. So that's it for this. Be sure to check out the trip video as well. I promise it's a little more entertaining than this. It was just a good overall adventure. And be sure to comment, like, subscribe. You know, plenty more videos coming out as well. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a good day.